Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Boone coming at you guys a brand new video. I just had to do that intro like 10 billion times. Sometimes I cannot say my intro, I swear. Today we're going to be doing a little Q&A session. You guys asked me some great questions in my last video where I asked you all to do so. I have like over 140 questions, I think, something like that. So I'm going to answer some of them for you guys. I do apologize if I didn't get to your question. I had a lot of repeat questions. I had some questions that I didn't really want to answer. There's also some questions I just did not have time to put in this video because they're a little too specific, or I don't know. I just tried to get some well-rounded questions having to do with like my life, how I sell stuff, like my opinions on like stuff. I don't know. Let's just jump into this video though. I don't want to do a big old intro. Hopefully by the end of today I can get all my Supreme summer shirts so I can make the video for you guys tomorrow of me unboxing all of them. I'm sort of annoyed by Supreme, like they're making me lag with these videos right now, but we're just gonna jump into these questions. Drop a like if you guys enjoy this video. I really do appreciate the 1 million total views we just hit on my channel. That's like so insane to me. 1 million views, like that's so much. Like I can't even quantify that number in my head. So we're gonna start off with the homie Anthony's question. He asked me, what's an item you sold that you regret selling? And off the top of my head I can think of so many items, especially like stuff I sell on Seattle Select. A lot of things I sell on there I don't even really want to sell, but I also kind of feel bad just keeping all the heat for myself. So the 3-6 Mafia tees I sold for my Christmas sale last year, I really missed that dark colorway one, that black one. I want that so badly. Like I miss that shirt so much. I'd say the only thing that comes as close to that 3-6 Mafia tee is probably the FTP dad hat I sold like 2 years ago on Depop. That like still crushes my soul. I sold it for like $10 or $15 over retail because it didn't fit my head like super well, but oh my god, I regret that so much, bro. Those things go for like over 130, 140 now easily. That's just off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's so many more things that I regret selling like so much. So next up, Nestor asked me, what's the hardest piece you've ever thrifted? Honestly, I have to say the Air Maxes I got are probably like my favorite thing I've ever thrifted. I'll throw up a little picture with me in them on the screen right now. Those were insane. I got those at the bins for $1, which made it even better for me because I never really find like crazy insane stuff at the bins. I usually find like pretty cool stuff, but I don't know. Those Air Maxes were like my size. They're super fire. They weren't even in that bad a condition. The 3M was still popping on them. Those shoes were gorgeous. I sold them for a steal. Probably the other best item I've ever thrifted was a Guess Jeans made in USA like orange tonal shirt. I have a picture of that at the thrift. I remember I bought that on half off day when there were so many people in the thrift store already. Like we walked in, I was with my homies like back at college, and I was so positive I wasn't about to thrift anything that day, and I just found that sitting on the rack and I just like freaked out. I actually like screamed a little bit when I saw that, like no cap. Like I straight up was like, oh my god, like making hella noise in the store. It was clowning. That was insane. That was definitely my best come up. That was back when I was over in Spokane at college at Gonzaga. Next up, the homie Sonny said, how did you get into vintage and streetwear? So I have to say with vintage, I just started really getting into thrifting. A lot of people probably don't know this. I like love sports so much. Like I've always been a humongous sports fan. I played tons of sports growing up. I'll still ball on you like any day on the court if any of you want it. But I would probably say that just like going to thrift stores back in the day, because I just wanted to find like old like Mariners stuff. I wanted to find like old sports stuff. So that got me into thrifting. When I started going thrifting, I got into like the stores that resold thrifted items. So I started learning more about like vintage Polo, vintage Tommy. I always kind of liked Polo and Tommy though, I feel like. I don't know, with like vintage, I really just think it was going to the thrifts and actually like wanting to thrift stuff and get stuff for the low. That's what really got me into the whole vintage culture. With streetwear, it's a little bit harder for me to really pinpoint it. I think my homies influenced me for sure. Like a lot of my friends were into streetwear and kind of got me more into streetwear. Rappers I liked were wearing streetwear. It's just kind of one of those things where like everything around me slowly like incorporated streetwear more and more to the point where I was just like, I'm super into this and I want to start buying it. I guess that's a good little like segue into this next question from the homie Charles, asking what my first Supreme piece was. But I'm just gonna say my first streetwear piece and my first Supreme piece. My first streetwear piece ever was the Palace Pro Prime Knits. Those were amazing shoes. I bought them like over 3 years ago, I think. I got them for $100. They're worth way more than that now. My first Supreme item ever was a multi-stripe long sleeve from 2015. Super fire, such a hitting piece. I love that long sleeve so much. I still have the yellow colorway. I'll actually go grab it right now. I have to say 2015 was such an insane season. Like this was just like a casual long sleeve lookbook item, and just look how gorgeous this design is. I love striped long sleeves and striped shirts, so it's very like fitting. My first ever Supreme piece was a striped long sleeve. So the next question is from Andrew, and he asked me, how much do you think you've spent on Supreme? Whew. I don't even want to think about it. We're gonna go to the next question. Way too much money. Sam asked me, what's the worst thing you ever did in high school? I'm gonna answer this in two different ways. The worst thing physically I ever did in high school, I never got in trouble in high school. Just about all of my friends have been suspended or expelled. I never got in any kind of trouble whatsoever though. I'm a good kid. If you want to really not get in trouble, you gotta be smart about the way you work, but I'm playing. What I actually did that was bad, I guess you could say, was I was super into graffiti. I used to love graffiti so much, and I was just really into that. So I guess you could say that might be the worst thing I ever did. But truly the worst thing I ever did in high school, I think, was just being lazy and not really trying to do the most with the situation I was in. Because if you guys think about it, when you're in high school, you're living at your parents' house rent free. You don't even really have to get a job. I wish I just been into reselling and buying and selling, thrifting, all that stuff way early on. I just think about it sometimes. If I had started all this back when I was 15 or 16, I would be so much further than I am today. And I mean, I started thrifting and reselling when I was a senior in high school, so it's not like I was late to it or anything like that. Honestly, when I first got into reselling, it wasn't even that crazy big of a thing as it is now. But yeah, I wish I had just been reselling earlier. That was the worst thing I did in high school. But in terms of actually doing something bad, probably just graffiti, I guess. Next up, the homie Gucci Angelo said, what inspired you to do YouTube? And this is an interesting question. I've never been asked this in any of my Q&As. Honestly, Jacob Starr and Paul Cantu are the fathers that birthed me. Yes, I have two fathers.
Dad? That's right, I'm your daddy.
No, but for real, I've watched Paul Cantu and Jacob Starr for so many years. Years before I even started YouTube, I was watching both those homies. I would 100% say those are the two that actually got me into making videos about clothing and streetwear. However, I was super into YouTube before that. I've honestly always wanted to do YouTube. I've had cringy YouTube channels you will never be able to find ever on the internet, but they do exist. And I also used to be super into gaming. I used to try to do gaming YouTube, and I never really took any of it seriously enough though, but I take this really seriously now. But definitely Paul Cantu and Jacob Starr are the dudes that birthed me in this YouTube shit, so shouts out to them big time. So next up, Victor asked me, how do you always seem to get the hookups on items? Is it hard finding the best price, or do you always have the same plugs? So honestly, a big part of it is you just have to know price values of just about every Supreme item. Once you're really understanding the price of every item, it's a lot easier for you to find steals. Besides that, I'd say knowing what marketplaces to go to, checking super often. I do have a lot of connections with people that I've established just over the years. I definitely think making connections with people you buy stuff from is super important. So people that have hooked me up in the past, I definitely try to keep in touch with, and I'm always just letting them know bro, hit me up if you got anything for sale. I'll usually buy it from you. So I don't know, just stuff like that. You just got to really be on it and just go out of your way the most you can if you really want to find the steals. Also in some of my older videos, I did mention how to get steals, but you're gonna have to go find those videos for yourself. Next up, the homie Bofi, who's been a subscriber for the minute, shout out to you, homie, said, what's a piece that you love but a lot of people hate on? And honestly, there are not a lot of pieces I own that I feel people straight up just hate on me for. If they do, it's definitely behind my back, which doesn't really bother me. I wear clothes for myself. I feel everyone should wear clothes for themselves. So if someone's offended or not liking something I'm wearing, I usually just don't care at all, because I wear the stuff I like to wear. That being said, I definitely say these are the pants that get the most what are those reactions from people. But yeah, I love these pants a ton. I absolutely adore them. Some of my favorite pants I own. So I don't really care, but I'd say probably those out of everything I have. So next up, Alex Lopez said, what's your most expensive outfit? And honestly, that's kind of hard to think off the top of my head. I don't really own designer clothing like that or anything, so I feel you guys are gonna be super underwhelmed with this answer. But I think actually this Instagram picture I took in New York might be the most expensive stuff I've worn in any picture, just all together. I have the Stone Island pants, which retailed at $350 or $300, something like that. Of course, we got the Supreme box logo, which is free. You know, James himself just hand delivered that to me. But that's worth probably $700. The Rap 7s with the straps are $400 retail. And then the OG S cap, I don't even know what those go for at this point. That's probably my most expensive outfit I've all worn at once. But I don't really have crazy expensive clothing like that is really out there. That box logo is far and away the most expensive single item I own. So next up, Miguel Springs asked me, from who or what do you get your style from? who inspires your style, or do you kind of just make your own style and rock with it? First off, Miguel, you were the GOAT. Shout out to you, bro. Honestly, I don't really know like where I get my style from. It's hard to say like one source. I feel like I'm just constantly observing clothing, just like from people around me, people in public, people on social media. I'd say a lot of it is just scrolling through Instagram and just seeing stuff that I like something in my inner conscious just like pops off and is like, bro, that hits, and then I'll want to like go seek it out for myself. In terms of like individual people, you could definitely say Jacob Starr, 150 billion% Sean Weatherspoon. Like Sean Weatherspoon, I'd say out of anyone, is definitely like the person I look up to the most with my style. I just love like the way he incorporates Supreme and vintage, and I know I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but besides that, I really don't know who else to say. I feel like it's just a lot of like observing stuff on like social media, seeing stuff in public that really like gets my style like influence. I don't know. That's a hard question. That's an interesting one though. Lane Wheeler asked me, how do you feel about StockX and how has it impacted reselling today? Honestly, people bash StockX like so much. However, they don't realize that StockX is actually like changing the market in good ways and bad ways. The negative side of StockX is it gives an easy outlet for kids to sell their stuff like right away. They made it so simple to sell on there that anyone can do it. So these young kids that like can't get their money back when they buy something, or just want their money back right away, will just sell like instantly. They can't afford to hold on to the item. That's what's really crashing the market, along with Supreme just not really designing stuff that's that crazy like hyped up. Supreme has not been really making designs, in my opinion, that are actually hitting that crazy hard. There's definitely been some highlight pieces this summer, like the Supreme summer tees are awesome graphics. That's why they're selling for so much money. Honestly, Supreme has to make a good design for it to sell. Kids have to stop reselling like instantly and just trying to sell at like the lowest possible price. And then thirdly, everyone just wants to be a reseller nowadays, to be honest. Like literally everyone and their moms is reselling, so there's just like not enough people buying this stuff and just too many people selling, in my opinion. So I don't think it's StockX's fault at all. I just think StockX is easy to blame because they're like the next big thing with the marketplace. Next up, Aiden asked me how long I've been growing my hair for, which is honestly ridiculous for me to think about. It's probably been like 3 years, like 2 or 3 years since I got a haircut. I'd say like 2.5. If you guys have watched me just like grow up on YouTube, you can see like my hair just gets longer and longer throughout my videos. A lot of people don't know I'm growing out my hair to donate it to cancer patients. I was inspired by Paul Cantu and just situations going on in my family. So yeah, I've been growing it out for like almost 3 years. It's absolutely absurd. I get so many comments like every day of people telling me to cut my hair. It will happen eventually, I promise. I don't like having long hair like this. Drives me crazy, but I think this is like enough of a like video now. I think it's time to wrap this up. Again, I do apologize if I missed anybody's questions. There's so many questions asked, like it's hard for me to get to all of them. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see me do Q&As more often, just let me know in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed those. Been your boy Boone. Supreme Summer Tees video hopefully tomorrow if Supreme finally gives me the rest of my t-shirts. But besides that, I have a lot of insane stuff to unbox for you guys with those summer tees. It's gonna be a fire video. Don't miss it. Drop a sub if you haven't already on my channel. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day. It's been your boy Boone. I'm out. Peace.